The fog rolled across the dense forests of Germania like a ghostly veil, creeping between the ancient oak trees and masking the world in a cold, gray silence. The Roman soldiers standing on the muddy clearing felt that silence like a weight on their chests. This land was not theirs. It was the land of spirits, shadows, and tribes who knew every curve of every path. Though the Romans stood in armor forged from shining metal, their confidence had dimmed. Germania made even the bravest men uneasy. The memory of disaster hung heavy here. Years earlier, 3 Roman legions had vanished in these forests, swallowed by the cunning of Arminius and the fury of tens of thousands of tribesmen. The Teutoburg Forest had already become a legend of defeat. Yet Rome refused to let the ghosts of that ambush rule the frontier of their empire. They returned, determined to reclaim honor, territory, and revenge. This battle was not the first, but it would become known as the second great struggle born from the same cursed woods. Under the command of Germanicus, nephew of Emperor Tiberius, the Roman army marched to face the Germanic Coalition once more. But unlike Arminius' earlier trap years before, this time the Romans came prepared. Scouts moved ahead carefully. Supply lines were protected. The soldiers carried hardened discipline in their eyes. They were determined not to repeat the mistakes of Varus. Arminius, however, had not grown weaker. He had rallied more tribes, strengthened alliances, and learned that Roman persistence was relentless. If Rome wanted another battle, he was willing to give it, but on his terms. His forces now included warriors from the Carusi, Bructeri, Marsi, and several smaller tribes, all united in a single cause: to stop Rome's expansion forever. By the time his war horn echoed through the forest, nearly 40,000 Germanic warriors prepared for war. The Romans brought around 5,000 elite soldiers into the region, including cavalry, archers, and auxiliaries who were familiar with frontier warfare. Despite being outnumbered massively, Roman discipline made them more dangerous than raw numbers suggested. Germanicus believed that precision, planning, and superior equipment would overcome tribal ferocity. But the land itself remained Rome's greatest enemy. The battlefield emerged near the mist-covered plains, close to the forest edge. Germanicus chose this ground deliberately, refusing to let Arminius lure him deeper into narrow passes or swampy marshes. The Romans built a temporary fort, secured their supply wagons, and took positions across open terrain where their formations could maintain order. They had learned the hard way that the forest swallowed order whole. The Germanic forces, hidden beyond the tree line, watched the Roman preparations with a mixture of caution and anger. They were used to baiting enemies, not facing them in controlled battles. Yet Arminius understood that Roman caution meant improved Roman strength. If he wanted victory, he would need overwhelming force and psychological momentum. He rallied his warriors with fierce speeches, reminding them of Varus' destroyed legends and the oath to keep Rome beyond the Rhine forever. When the war drums began, the sound echoed through the forest like distant thunder. Germanicus, standing atop a mound with his officers, felt the vibration through the earth. The forest seemed to tremble. The Romans tightened their shields, listening as screams, chants, and horns rose from between the trees. Then the Germanic warriors emerged like a tidal wave. They rushed out with terrifying speed, forming long lines across the entire field. Painted bodies, massive shields, and long spears created a wall of fury. They outnumbered the Romans 8-1, and at first glance, the pressure of that sight alone could break a weaker army. But Roman discipline held strong. The soldiers locked their shields, tightened formation, and anchored themselves like a wall of steel. Germanicus ordered his archers to fire. Arrows streaked through the air, striking the front ranks of the Germanic warriors. Many fell, but others surged forward over their bodies. The Romans prepared for impact. When the Germanic line crashed into them, the sound was like metal striking thunder. Spears cracked, shields smashed, Men grunted, shouted, and heaved their full strength forward. The Germanic warriors relied on brute force and overwhelming numbers, trying to smash the Roman wall open. But the Roman formations bent without breaking. Like a living machine, the soldiers responded to pressure, reinforcing weak points instantly. Their training allowed them to move in perfect unison, while swinging short swords with deadly accuracy. Arminius directed a massive push toward the Roman left flank, hoping to encircle them. The tribes hammered the Roman lines with waves of bodies. Germanicus anticipated this and sent cavalry in a sweeping arc to crash into the side of the Germanic formation. Horses thundered across the field, slicing into the chaotic tribal ranks. Their charge broke momentum, relieving the pressure on the infantry. The Germanic warriors regrouped, roaring with rage. More tribes joined the assault. From the tree line, fresh fighters poured out in a near-endless stream, attempting to overwhelm the smaller Roman force through sheer mass. But the Romans had positioned themselves wisely, forcing the battle into the open, where maneuverability was possible. This was no ambush. This was a contest of strategy. Arminius changed tactics, signaling his warriors to pull back suddenly. Dust clouds rose as they withdrew. The Romans held formation, watching carefully. Germanicus warned his officers. This was either a trap or a preparation for something larger. The ground suddenly fell quiet, except for the groans of injured men and the distant rustle of the forest. Then the tribes attacked again, this time attempting to stretch the Roman front by forming a crescent around them. Their numbers allowed them to expand outward, forcing the Romans to adapt. Germanicus extended his wings, but kept the core tight. He refused to be encircled. Roman ballistae launched heavy bolts into the approaching warriors, cutting through shields and bodies alike. The fighting escalated into brutal close-quarters combat. The Germanic warriors fought with raw ferocity, swinging axes and long swords in wide arcs. They were strong, swift, and fearless. But Roman shields deflected many blows, and Roman short swords found gaps between ribs and armor. The battlefield became a storm of clashing steel, splintering wood, and screams. The Germanic center pushed hard again, hoping to break the Roman line. The tribes chanted war cries, stamping through the blood-soaked ground. But the Romans performed a deadly maneuver, the counter-thrust rotation. Fresh soldiers stepped forward, exhausted ones rotated back, and continuous waves of stabbing attacks erupted from behind the shield wall. The Germanic front ranks collapsed under the relentless precision. Arminius urged his warriors to strike the Romans with everything they had. His voice carried across the battlefield, inspiring waves to surge forward. But for each wave, the Romans held. For each breakthrough attempt, the Roman cavalry countered. For each flank push, the Roman archers delivered new volleys. As midday approached, the field had turned into a wide swath of crushed grass, trampled bodies, broken spears, and muddy blood. The sun burned away the fog, revealing the scale of the struggle. The Romans, though tired, stood firm. The Germanic forces, despite their massive numbers, showed signs of disorganization. Warbands lost contact with their chiefs. Fighters from different tribes could not coordinate effectively. Germanicus sensed the moment. He signaled the Roman right flank to advance in a controlled wedge. The formation pierced into the Germanic side like a spearhead. Tribesmen fell back, stumbling, shouting warnings. The wedge pushed deeper, creating cracks. Meanwhile, Roman cavalry swept behind the Germanic lines, sowing confusion. Arminius rushed to restore order, but the chaos was too great. The Romans exploited every weakness with merciless efficiency. Their formations shifted like clockwork, tightening, moving, expanding, and collapsing the tribes' attack patterns. The Germanic warriors continued to fight fiercely, but their lines were no longer unified. Groups battled individually rather than as one massive force. Germanicus gave the final order, a full advance. The Roman infantry marched forward, shields up, blades thrusting in deadly rhythm. They pushed the Germanics backward, step by step. The tribes, exhausted from constant charges, began to collapse under Roman discipline. The field shook as both armies clashed in the final struggle. Dust filled the air. Screams echoed. The Germanic warriors fought with everything they had left, refusing to surrender. But exhaustion and disarray overcame them. Slowly, the giant Germanic host dissolved into retreat. The Romans stood victorious. Against 40,000 warriors, their 5,000 had survived through discipline, strategy, and leadership. Germanicus restored Roman honor on the very land where Varus had lost everything. The tribes withdrew back into the forest, carrying their wounded and mourning their dead. The Second Battle of Teutoburg became a symbol of Rome's resilience. Though the tribes remained fierce adversaries, they had seen that Rome was not a broken empire. Germanicus' victory proved that organization could overcome chaos, training could overcome fury, and strategy could overcome numbers. Yet the forest remained ancient, silent, and watchful. The land remembered the screams of both battles, the defeat of Varus and the redemption of Germanicus. For centuries, the Teutoburg Forest would stand as a reminder that empires rise and fall, but the will to fight shapes history more than any sword. The Romans returned to their forts, carrying not only their wounded, but their regained pride. The Germanic tribes disappeared again into the deep woods, their unity shaken, but their spirit unbroken. The war between Rome and the tribes would continue, but the legend of this battle, 5,000 disciplined soldiers, resisting 40,000 warriors, would stand forever as a testament to Rome's incredible military machine. The air slowly grew quiet again, and the forest swallowed the echoes. Teutoburg had witnessed blood once more, and this time Rome walked away not as victims, but as victors. The shadow of the earlier massacre had been challenged, and in the muddy clearing, the balance of power shifted once again.